Hello everyone and welcome. The Valentines 2019 seasonal banner has arrived, and that means that we should do a new unit review. The free unit for this update is Valentines Titania. Titania is a red tome cavalier with 145 BST. Her stats remind me of Ursula: low defense, high res, and competent offense. However, Titania's red typing makes her a much stronger unit. She simply has no direct competitors. The only other red mage knights are Mage Erica and Leo, and both of them are 5-star exclusive. Titania's weapon is the Loyal Wreath Plus, a generic tome with built-in Spectrum Bond. If the equipped unit is adjacent to an ally, they get +3 to all stats during combat. Spectrum Bond is the shared theme for Valentines 2019. Between the Bond stats and the refined choices, the 2019 Valentines weapons work well on a variety of units and team setups. Basically, they're generic, but they're pretty darn good. Titania's assist is Swap, her A skill is Triangle Adept, and her B skill is Attack Res Link. Titania is a welcome addition to anyone's barracks. Red ranged cavaliers are still very rare, so getting a good one for free is a gift we should appreciate. Let's move on to the banner. Our first banner unit is Mist. Valentines Mist is a green tome cavalier with 144 BST. With 34-34 offenses, Mist is cut out to be a classic Cavalier Blade Mage. She hits hard, doubles often, and doesn't have much of an enemy phase. Her weapon is the Gronbloom's Plus. This generic tome is identical to Loyal Wreath, just green instead of red. With Mist stats, it can help offset her low bulk, but honestly, she just wants a blade tome. Her assist is Rally Defense Res Plus. Whale rallies are some of the strongest skills in the game, and getting access to them is a big deal for score. Her A skill is Swift Sparrow, and her B skill is Res Feint. Finally, her C skill is Green Tome Valor. Valentine's Mist is a straightforward unit, and if you compare her to last year's Valentine's Lilina, the two end up being similar in terms of final performance. However, Mist has superior fodder choices, and will be much more welcome when she does appear. I think this is a smart choice from IS. If seasonal units are going to be rare and expensive, then all of them need to be at least amazing fodder. Next up, we have Valentines Soren. Soren is a blue tome cavalier with 144 BST. Stat-wise, Soren is an improved version of La Rochelle. He trades a few points in defense and res for a lot more offensive punch. La Rochelle does have a better enemy phase, but let's be honest, you aren't often bringing a Mage Knight for their enemy phase. Soren's weapon is the blue version of the Spectrum Bond seasonal tome. It's the exact same as the other two, just blue. His assist is Rally Attack Speed Plus. Of all the whale rallies, this one is probably the most powerful. Giving any unit you want 6 attack and speed pretty much on demand is nothing short of insane. It helps your score, it helps you cheerlead, and it even enables powerful AR strategies with units like Blade Mages, Ophelia, or Levitane. Soren's A skill is Attack Res Bond. His B skill is Speed Feint, and his C skill is Res Opening. Res Opening is another skill in the opening family. Personally, this skill group hasn't impressed me too much. Units like Legendary Azura, or skills like Whale Rallies, have made traditional +6 buffs a lot worse than they used to be. Tactics are also widely available if you want this effect, and the team building restriction isn't a big deal for them. Our third banner unit is my pick for the most powerful unit on this banner, Valentines Ike. Valentines Ike is a red sword armor with 174 BST. With 37-38 offenses, he has absurd damage potential, and he's nearly impossible to double. 35 defense keeps him safe in melee, while he has enough res to survive a single hit from most mages or dragons a lot of the time. Ike's weapon is Heart's Blade Plus. Like the rest of the weapons, this generic sword has Spectrum Bond. His A skill is Distant Counter, and his B skill is Special Fighter. In March, you will be able to inherit 4 skills from any one unit, so Valentines Ike will be able to pass Special Fighter and Distant Counter together. That makes him a big deal for fodder. His C skill is Even Speed Wave, for even more speed-based goodness. But the thing which really sets Valentines Ike apart from other armors is his special, Radiant Aether. Introduced on Legendary Ike, Radiant Aether is the same as normal Aether, except it has 4 cooldown instead of 5. Why does that matter? Well, because of Special Fighter, Valentines Ike can spam Radiant Aether in both phases of combat regardless of his weapon selection. In other words, Valentines Ike can use any generic sword, and it doesn't affect his special timing. He will always be able to use Radiant Aether in a single round, and he doesn't need to tank a double to do it. Valentines Ike can keep his Heart's Blade, but this flexibility with Radiant Aether leans me towards using Barrier Blade or Armor Smasher. With Barrier Blade, his mediocre res becomes a non-issue, and with Smasher he becomes quite possibly the best anti-armor duelist in the game. Valentines Ike is so good that he gives Zelgius a run for his money, and that's no mean feat. Our last unit for this update is the namesake of the Greil mercenaries. Valentine's Greil is an axe armor with 174 BST. His stat line should look familiar by now: high attack, low speed, high defense, and high res. This profile is shared by a ton of axe armors, and to be honest, this is Greil's big flaw. Surtur, Legendary Hector, Brave Ephraim, and even Halloween Dorcas can all fill this role. Greil just doesn't bring anything new in terms of gameplay. Greil's weapon is the Faithful Axe Plus. Like the rest of the set, it has Spectrum Bond. However, generic axes are worse than generic swords and tomes, generally speaking. In the axe armor category, we have Sinmara, Thunder Armads, Garm, and even the Berserk Armads on offer. Plus, if we're talking about generic axes, Hammer is usually the go-to. Greil's special is Aether, his B skill is Wary Fighter, and his C skill is Armor March. Nothing out of the ordinary. We should all be used to these skills by now. His A skill, however, is new and pretty exciting: Fury 4. Fury 4 grants +4 to all stats in exchange for 8 recoil damage. It's a nice nod to the Tellius story, and it's a fine skill too. Although Fury 4 isn't at its best on slow, bulky armors like Greil, it's exceptional on mixed phase duelists with strong personal weapons, or on units who make use of every stat. The big problem with Fury 4 is simply availability. Unless IS does make significant changes, Fury 4 is going to be seasonal locked for the foreseeable future, so if you want a copy, for any reason, now is probably the only time to get it until Greil is rerun on a legendary banner. Overall, this banner fits the new seasonal banner mold. It's primarily for fodder, with a few nice toys for big spenders. The standard advice applies: 4-unit 3% banners are not great. If you don't want the fodder on offer for a specific project, you should give this one a pass. However, if you want a shot at Special Fighter and DC in one package, or Fury 4 and Armor March, now is as good a time as any. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like or subscribing. You can find me on Twitter at DireThunderYT, so feel free to send me cool stuff or just drop by to say hello. As always, I hope to see you next time. Take care.